my co-host, bringing up Martin. Hey there, Martin. How are you? Can you hear me? I know you're listening to us live on Facebook, so there might be a delay. Can you hear me?
Fine, you?
Yeah,
Yes,
what's
I
that?
hear you.
Oh, good. Good. If you could move over to your right just a little bit, just your body, just a little bit, so you're center on the camera because you're getting cut off. You're off to the side a little bit. So move to your right a little bit. There you go. You look beautiful. Hey there, folks. We are live on Haps. This is exciting. We are here recording live, a collaboration that we do. It is High Five for
Cheers.
Hemp. Yeah, cheers. Here's our logo. You can take a look at it. High Five for Hemp. This is a podcast that we produce. So you can go over to your favorite podcast catcher or highfiveforhemp.com. High five, boom. If you want to hear about the hemp industry, what's going on, we'll be talking to people in the industry as well. Martin and I produced this show, and we decided, hey, let's give it a shot and record the next episode live on Haps. So we're doing something on Haps. I recorded a little bit on Haps earlier today from beautiful San Diego. And Martin, where are you right now in the world? There's a bit of a delay.
Yeah, I'm in Gothenburg, Sweden, on the west coast of Sweden, the
West
second biggest,
Coast.
largest city in Sweden.
So you're in the West
So now I'm
Coast.
here. A bit of lag, but it will be fun. You will have fun editing this.
Yeah, it might be
So we'll come
impossible.
up with a thing here.
I wouldn't listen to the live feed because I can see how much there is a delay. Can we just switch back over to the phone? It's not bad, but at least we could talk in real time. I think it'll be easier. It's going to be impossible for us to have a
Okay.
conversation with a 5 second delay, and I'm not going to edit it. So I'm going to use the live feed. So it's much better. Let's go back to the live. If we
Yeah,
could go and use the phone audio, it's fine. It'll be fine.
we'll see. I want to see if it's working well, but otherwise I will shift it or get my other headphones.
Okay, I just think it might be impossible for us to have a conversation in real time if there's a 5 second delay. And it's going to be a bit odd because when I ask you a question, you're going to sit there for 5 seconds and we won't have anything. We'll just have dead air. So it'll be hard to have like a really engaged real time conversation. And I
Yeah.
think I think the audio quality that I heard with your phone was fine. It was fine for what we're doing here.
Okay. So then we will do that, but then I will talk directly into the phone without any
Yeah,
thing.
that's okay. That's
So
okay. Yeah, it's easier than
ready
trying
for
to
that?
talk like this. Yeah, I'm ready. So let's and we'll start recording. So this is all fun stuff that we're doing, playing with the internet, playing with Haps, which is a fantastic platform. How about now?
Yeah. Okay, so then I have put on my wish list some kind of nice headphones, gears, whatever in the future. Because the
Y-
one that I used, and it's a Swedish company called, what is it, Urban Ears, and Plattan, like the floor. But it's all, I have used it for a long time. But anyway, you talked about podcasting. So if you're into podcasting 2.0, you could go to newpodcastapps.com and download your favorite new app there and start streaming
Okay,
Satoshis
so
for us.
what you're recommending is that you try streaming, not using the podcast application that comes default on your telephone, like the Apple Podcast app. So you would actually go out and get one of these other podcast apps. Why is that a benefit? What is Podcast 2.0 bring?
Yeah, very shortly is that you could support indie podcaster, content creators by streaming something called Satoshi. And it says that Satoshi was the founder or co founder of Bitcoin, the blockchain technology for cryptocurrency. So now we have Adam Curry and one person called Dave Johnson, I think, and others created something that is called podcasting 2.0. And there, if you go to podcast index or newpodcastapps.com, you will find a list of different applications that you could use to listen to podcasts, but also at the same time, if you want supporting independent podcasters by streaming this parts of Bitcoin. I think it's like one Satoshi is 100 million parts of a Bitcoin.
So does that mean that the podcaster receives that Satoshi every time
Yes.
someone
Yeah.
listens? Okay, so it's a way of supporting them financially. If you have a big enough
Yeah.
audience, that could actually convert into Bitcoin, and you don't actually have to
Yeah.
pay anything. All you have to do is listen using one of these apps, and then the
Yeah.
podcasters will automatically get paid without you going to your bank
Yeah.
or paying
Yeah.
anything. That's pretty cool. That's pretty
But you
cool.
have to do
But
an
you have to
active
use a
choice.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's cool. You have to actively choose to listen through one of these apps. So what's the website again that you would go to listen that
New
way?
new podcast apps, like in plural.com, or go to
New
podcastindex.org and search for value for value.
Okay, interesting. And we can put links to that in the show notes when we post the
Yeah.
audio segment of the show here. So
Yeah.
everything that's led up here, we've been live casting now for about 6 minutes. It's just been all working out the bugs and the
Yeah.
delays. So we're going to edit this out of the actual show. But now what we're going to do is actually jump into our show. And our show again, I'm going to put up the artwork is High Five for Hemp, right? This is a podcast, an audio podcast, and we're doing it live on Haps today, this Saturday. For those of you watching, wherever you're watching, you might be watching on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube, on Twitch. I think that's all of them. And here on Haps, right? So if you leave us a comment, we should be able to see it at least, right? We should see it after a while. There might be a delay,
Yeah.
and then we can respond to you in real time, and that will bring some live interaction during the show. But
Yeah.
so
We
what
have
I'm going to
7
do
viewers
now,
now. Yeah.
yeah, the viewers know you guys can leave comments. And right now I have a comment that says, "Hi, this is a sample comment." from the Haps engine, and it's asking me to promote them to tell everybody to go sign up for haps.tv. So
Mm.
if you're watching on Facebook, if you're watching on Twitter, if you're watching on YouTube, go over to haps HAPPS.tv and sign up and watch. It's really good. It's a good platform. There's a lot of content creators out there, and I'll be streaming on the weekends when I have the time. And I think I might this I think this week's theme is to stream sunset. So I might try to get out and show a sunset on my mobile device on Haps too, just to be part of the Haps community. It's a great community of content creators. But today, what we're going to do is we're going to create our podcast. We wanted to show you how we did that, and we don't do too much setup, too much show prep, but we have some ideas we want to talk about. So what I'm going to do now, generally I hand it over to Martin to do the introduction. So let's do that. You do the introduction, just like we're doing the show, and then I'll jump
Okay. So welcome to High Five for Hemp. I am Martin Lindeskog. Hi, Adam. How are you doing?
in. Hey Martin, how are you? How are things going in the west coast of Sweden? The left coast, I would imagine, or
Yeah,
is it the right coast? I don't know what the
we call it the
ideology is in
best.
Sweden.
We call it the best coast here,
The
but in
best coast.
America, California is the left coast.
So, how are the beaches in Sweden?
It's not so much beaches, but you have it. But you have archipelago. How do you pronounce that word? Thanks.
Archipelago. Yeah, something like
Yeah,
that. Yeah, it's a big
the
word.
small
Lots of
islands.
islands. Lots of
Yeah,
islands. Oh, so
that
you
you
must
have
have
on the west coast.
rocky beaches. You have
Yeah,
water.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Very nice. Very nice. Very nice. So we're here today to talk about industrial hemp, all the wonderful things you'd need to know about hemp. We explore different topics every week. I see on the live feed you're sharing with me some either hemp oil or CBD oil. There's a
It's an
difference, and we
empty
can talk
oil
about
without any label, but it's how it looks. But because maybe you don't know about it, so it's
it.
like this
Yeah,
tincture.
so If you're listening to the audio feed, Martin is showing in the camera a brown glass bottle that holds about 2 ounces of fluid, which is
30
normally an
milliliters.
oil,
Yep.
yeah, 30 milliliters. And it has a stopper, a rubber stopper in it, right? So you can just put out a few drops under your tongue or wherever you want to do, in your eye. Ouch, that would
Mm.
hurt. But generally under your
On your
tongue
skin
and yeah, on your
in
skin,
Sweden.
sure. Yeah, or in your tea or in your coffee
Mm.
by mistake. So yeah, that's generally how you would receive something that is generated from hemp, which is either hemp oil or CBD oil. Do you know what the difference is, Martin, between those two products?
Between CBD oil and
Hemp oil.
no, because it's coming from the hemp plant, both.
That's
So you
right. They
have to
both come from the hemp plant, but there is a specific difference between these two products. And I can tell you what that is. It's pretty simple to know what those are. The difference between hemp oil and CBD oil is that hemp oil is generally created from the hemp seed, from the
hmm
seed, right? And the
mm,
seed does not contain any CBD, any
okay.
any cannabinoids besides the oil of the hemp, right? So you're just getting the oil of the seed and the shell of
Yep.
the seed. When you get CBD, what they do is they actually press the flower and the leaves and the buds, the organic biomass of the plant. So they let the plant grow, right? And then they remove the seeds. And so the seeds are pressed into hemp oil, like the way that, say, olive oil is made, and by pressing the seeds, or grapeseed oil, right? It's a different process. It's through compression, right, and heat. Whereas when you create CBD oil, it's a method of extraction that they use a special device, a closed loop system where they put in some solvents and they extract the cannabinoids, the elements from the biomass, from the leaves and the buds and the hairs and the oils that are on the plant itself. And that's why sometimes there's a price difference between the two products. So you sent me a link today to an article about the incredible range of prices for products in CBD specifically, right? You can,
Mm.
and what was the percentage? It was like 4,000%
Yeah.
range. Like these can cost from $1,000 or four
Mm.
thousand dollars to a
Yep.
dollar, right? I guess that's four
Yeah.
thousand percent for a milligram of CBD, and that's incredible. And while that super high price range is pretty rare,
Mm.
typically what we see here in North America, at least, and I think you find the same in Europe, that a tincture bottle, like you showed me, which is a 30 milliliter bottle or 1 or 2 ounces in a bottle, generally costs somewhere between 30 on the low end, if you catch a
Mm.
good sale, to about 70 or 80 on the high end. If you go, I've seen CBDs on sale for 100, $150 that are very special, or maybe they're more potent, or maybe they are more unique blend, or various reasons why they're more expensive. And on the lower end, we see things about $30. If you go below $30 for a tincture bottle, unless it's like not full, it's just a little bit like a sample. Generally,
Mm.
that's industrial, so much so that I wouldn't touch it. Maybe it's
Yeah.
like they're selling it because
And
it's beyond usability. It's gone bad. It's
and
something.
and that's why I wanted to do this exercise. Of course, is it apple? You compare apples and apples to apples, or apples to oranges, and also how is it in North America compared to Europe and in Sweden? So the example I did, it this company Let's Hemp that I've been using products from, that want now to take more market shares and not dump the prices but reduce them very much, like 40% or something like that. So and there in Sweden, as you know, we have regular, but VAT on every level is value added tax is 25% or 20% depending on how you count. But then on food it's like 12% or something like that.
Right. The
So
tax
there you
on
have it.
cannabis
Yeah.
The tax on cannabis products can be even higher, especially
Mm,
if they're being sold on retail. Here in California, it could go up to 50% even, but it's
mm,
quite high. So you're paying a lot of that is on tariff, right? So it depends on what
mm.
state you're in. Also depends on whether you're buying it medically or non-medically. Though medical grade CBD is usually more expensive because the processing is more. Really, right now, because there's not a whole lot of regulation, the prices are as grand as they can be because it's what the market will bear. If someone will pay for it. So, for example, we see that for some crazy reason, pet products are the most expensive. So, if you want to buy CBD for your dog, you don't want to know why? It's because pet owners will pay anything.
But
And there
do
might
they
be a
add
difference in the
something?
quality. Yeah.
I
No.
have one product in the shipment to cat, but do they add anything for the pets?
Do they add anything different than what a
Yeah,
human would consume? Generally, no.
yeah,
It's the same product, though. If it's hemp oil that you're getting,
yeah.
remember it's being pressed by seeds, and there are
Mm,
benefits for taking hemp oil, but there's no CBD in there. There's no cannabinoids in there. Whereas if it's a CBD oil, right, which sometimes usually CBD oil is a little more expensive than the hemp oil, right? But what I see is very expensive hemp oil for pets. So I don't know, and we can't ask our pets outside of their general behavior whether or not they can feel it, right? Unless you have a talking
uh,
chihuahua or a talking
yeah.
cat,
I
which
saw
just
an
how's your cat doing with learning Swedish?
it is a cat language, but
Cat, yeah.
the cats are domestic cats. They are changing their language in order to get what they want. That they have done studies with that.
So domestic
When
cat
they
language has changed over time. That's like fat.
Yeah.
That's I think that's outside of the scope of this
Yeah,
conversation.
it is. But anyway, you sent a link to this guy in Philadelphia where you could get pet CBD oil with bacon and something tuna also added to it.
Ah, delicious. Very nice. Very nice. So is this CBD or is it hemp oil? Do you remember?
Yeah, that was a good question. Yeah, that was a good
Yeah.
question. We have to
So
look.
for those who are watching, if you want to know the difference, that's what it is. So hemp oil comes from the seed and
Mm,
CBD comes from the flower. And
yeah.
generally, the extraction process of flower is a lot more complicated, a lot more specialized, and can be a lot more potent, right? And there's
Mm,
benefits to both, right? But CBD, as studies are showing, because the science is relatively new, because for a long time, hemp was federally illegal and now it is federally legal. So we're going to see more and more research that comes out. But the early research has been promising that it has great effect. I can personally tell you, as a user of CBD, which I use every day for inflammation. I struggle with some pain due to some bone damage that I've had due to a car accident many years ago, and now the arthritis and the scar tissue in that area make it difficult for me. Also, my lower back, that generally on the days that I remember to take my CBD oil in the morning, in the afternoon, I feel okay. It's not a panacea. It's not like you take these drops and things go away. What I find is that when you activate the endocannabinoid system, which is a real system of sensors that you have inside your body, like a machine, when they're activated, you tend less to react, right? So for things like seizures, right, or allergic reactions, inflammation, right, is a swelling of tissue in reaction to an outside substance. When you have the endocannabinoid system engaged, right, you tend to kind of more equalize and you chill out. Also, your anxiety level drops a little bit. Things that bother you every day, they don't bother you as much. I mean, if you still drink 3 cups of coffee in the afternoon, you're going to be jittery. There's no way of getting around that. It's a very subtle effect. But overall, I can tell you over the years that I've been using the substance, very little side effects for me. Now, I'm just an experiment of one. You might be different. Everybody is different. But for me, it tends to take the edge off that inflammation and drops my levels of anxiety. If anybody who knows me, I'm proud. The most chill person you've ever met. I'm super chill, right? So, have you felt the same way in your experience? I know you've been experimenting, and you probably haven't been using it as long as say I have, and I do it daily. But have you had any ill effects at all using CBD or
No,
experimenting with any of these things?
Yeah, so that's what I want to over time test out and see if I get more so-called, you could say, but balanced or overall better health in different ways. But I don't see any side effects or ill effects or something that I don't like
Right, and
about it.
it's very hard to see the benefit too,
Yep.
because it's not like when you take a pill and something instantly happens, right? It's not that cause and effect. It's more subtle than that. And when you're paying
Yep.
that high price, you're like, wow, I thought this would be more direct. But
Yep.
over time, you'll see, wow, this really did have effect. Not for everybody, but for me, certainly. Now, let's
Yep.
get back to your original point here, which is the article, which we'll post in the show notes for this podcast. If you're watching the live feed, thank you. We see you. We see you
Mm.
guys are watching live.
A-
We love it.
And talking
Uh,
about that, you probably have to edit it, but on my screen it say now pre-live, but shows up 15 viewers, and it say
yeah, we are
ready.
definitely live. Yeah, that's a challenge with Haps, and I'm not seeing any live. For some reason, I'm not seeing any live comments. We might have some comments in Facebook. Yeah,
Yeah, I
so
saw somebody on
Bert
my Facebook. So yeah,
Bert Ola Bergstrand
yeah,
is
yeah.
watching,
That's a
right?
friend of
So
mine.
that's
Yeah,
that's
but
on yours, right? And
yeah,
I'm not seeing that in the live feed. And for me, do I have any of my friends? Are they? No, but none of my friends are talking to me today. They're all out doing things. So you can leave us comments on Facebook. You can leave us comments on YouTube. You can leave us comments on Twitch. We might see them. But we'll keep going because we're going to publish this too. If you go to Hive
yeah.
5 for hemp to that
Dot com.
.com,
Yeah.
you can subscribe and listen to the show. We're just getting started, but we have a few episodes there. We have some great plans in store. We will have guests from the industry. We'll go to events. We'll just talk about it as this industry is just getting started. It made a lot of sense for somebody to be out there to kind of be the voice of the people in a positive way, right? In a positive way,
We we
right?
are we are the people. Yeah.
Yeah, and while you, and now Martin, you are an affiliate for Nordic Oil, right? So
Yep.
I am not an affiliate to anyone,
No,
independent.
not yet.
I,
Yep.
right, I have no
But you have
business
your
in the game.
dad grass. Yeah.
Yeah,
We
outside
have
of
talked about it.
being an enthusiast. I love
Yeah.
Dadgrass, which is an organization. Here's I'll show you. I can show the camera. This is
Mm.
Dadgrass, which is a little cigarette box, and you can see there it's in here that makes smokable. They make smokable. There we go. You can see in there if you're watching the
Mm.
camera. This is smokable hemp, right? It's not. It's grass, but it's hemp.
But
It is
are you
not.
allowed to smoke it right now in California?
Yes, you are. Oh, sure, absolutely. Even if
Mm.
it was
Mm.
cannabis or even it was marijuana, but this is not. This is
Yeah.
hemp, right?
But in
And
the
then this
future, for the
in
bill
the
that we talked about, the latest issue or
yeah.
episode.
So and then this is mom grass, which is a
Mm.
tweak of that is better for things that might ail a mom. But for dad grass, it is legal to smoke this. It's not a question of whether it's legal to smoke. It's a question of whether it's legal to
Uh,
sell in state, and
yeah.
that's the problem. So if it's given to you, right, it's fine. So if you grow it, it's fine because it's a legal plant, right? So that's not a problem.
Good.
It's the problem is, and you can even manufacture this as manufactured in California, but there is a bill that we talked about, AB 45, that is yet to be signed, but might be signed any day by our governor, which will make it illegal to sell smokable hemp. You'll be able to eat it. You'll be able to put it in a lotion. And the reason why is it's not that they're against the smoking of the hemp. And again, we're not talking about marijuana. We're talking about hemp, right? Which is a different. It's cannabis plant, but it's one without THC, so it's not psychoactive, but it has all the other benefits from the cannabinoids, so like CBD, right? So the reason why they're making it illegal is because they don't have a tax plan in place. It's they don't want you to. They don't want folks selling stuff that they can't get a piece of the profit. So once that is in place, you will be able to buy smokable hemp. And I actually really like smokable hemp because it's enjoyable. It's an enjoyable form rather than taking oil all the time.
And I
Something
haven't tested, as I said, I haven't tested it
and
yet, and I
I
wonder if I will in the future. But we will see. This one, I
maybe
will when I visit you in California or some other place.
I am not an affiliate. They do not sponsor us, though. Dadgrass, if you're interested.
Not
No,
yet.
I seriously, I'd rather be independent because then I can just tell you
That's
this
good.
is a great pot. I bought
It
this
is.
with my own heart, and I had to get mom grass too, just to try it. And my wife really loves this one. It really chills her out. Certain times of the month too is really great. It's just a really nice product, right? So we're totally relaxing. It's totally chill. So, and I don't like to smoke in the house because it makes the house smell that, and it smells
Yeah,
exactly
that's
like
okay.
marijuana. So I'll sit outside on my
And
patio, and
I have
as you can
smell vents,
see
so
behind me, we've got the nice mountain view, and it's nice
yeah.
to sit out there and just contemplate life and look at the sky and the mountains and the
Hmm.
bunnies.
Neat.
And anyhow, so that is that. But to get back to the original conversation we're having about the price of these things being so varied, one, what I can tell you is that the price has gone down from this year to last year. The studies are showing that about a little more than 10%. I think it's 11% drop in average price for these products year over year. We saw the same thing with regular marijuana has come down in price. I mean, originally when it came out, you'd see ounces as high as $250, $300, but then you'd get your $100 ounce, and the quality of the $100 ounce was a lot lower than what you would get. And so, what I'd like to share with you is this idea of this analogy of a bottle of wine. You can
Mm.
spend $5 on a bottle of wine, you can spend $500 on a bottle of wine. And sometimes what's in the bottle doesn't correlate to the price, right? And then we have some of that going on with hemp as well. So, for example, you gave me a list of producers of CBD oil and hemp oil.
Mm.
And what we found was when the list came out, Nordic Oil was on the list of being some of the most expensive oil that's produced. They're one of the high grade, high end, expensive oils. But when you compared it to the price of a local producer in Pennsylvania, right? Cedar Creek Farms or something like that,
Mm.
Cedar Hills or something like that, their oil was almost twice as much. And it's really the same oil. The difference is that the oil growing in the farm in Pennsylvania that we looked as an example is a specialty farm where they're
Mm.
growing regenerative farming techniques, or cannabis through regenerative farming techniques, organic soil, incredibly hand picked and planted and cared for, which costs more money because there's more people time. Whereas if you go into a farm that's more automated, that's more machine driven, that's more industrial, industry brings down prices, right? But also the demand. As the demand becomes more regulated, prices will have to come down too, because there just won't be a market for it. Not like it's really hard to charge a $300 for an ounce of marijuana right now. People will pay for it, but that's going to be a harder sell. And these products are organic. They have a shelf life. While they might last for a year and still be useful, over time they get less and less effective. And like if you buy a $300 ounce of marijuana and it's brittle and dry and brown and it looks like it's been sitting, you're going to go back to that to the store and say, hey, I've got a problem, or you're never going to go there, right? So when people spend that top dollar for product, they want a nice experience, they want a nice store, they want someone who calls them by their first name when they walk in and remember who they are. They want a nice box and a bag and maybe even offered a coffee. It's a high end experience. Whereas if you want, you can find these places that more like a warehouse, you get the price. So if you're a smart consumer, you can get the same product for a lot less. But it takes a lot more work because you got to figure out where to get those products. I hope that makes sense. And but 4,000% is what has been identified
Hmm.
as the range. I think that's on the extremes. I think we have
Yeah.
very high products in the animal area of business that don't have a lot of CBD in them, right? So that makes them really expensive. There's a lot of oil in them, but how would the pets know? It's because that's what the owners will pay. Whereas you have on the low end, you have a lot of glut to the market right now. There's so much product. It's such an easy crop to grow that there is a glut in the market of CBD and hemp oil. So we've got products everywhere. I mean, you can go into a smoke shop or a gas station, even in my local health food store, even in my grocery store, we have a case that says CBD that you can buy it.
Hmm.
Now it's $50 a bottle, but I mean, do you pay $50 for any single item in your grocery store when you go shopping for food? I'm not even sure if you do your food shopping in your household, but when you go
Yeah.
out to buy food, how easy is it for you to spend $50 on one item?
Oh, that's not that's pretty steep. It's of course
Yeah, it's
depending
pretty
on
rare.
if it's so called if it's for foie de gras or caviar, then maybe
Steak or
anything.
something, right,
Yeah,
right.
steak.
Special or crab.
But, but otherwise, it's yeah. But
Yeah, it's
even that's the thing. If you buy healthy beverages or juices, that if you compare how much it is per liter, that could cost a bit.
yeah, it is.
But
No, it is. It's very expensive, and I
and
think that's
this
part of the issue too.
maybe that's for another episode. But it's also how you did I do this was only three different brands and products, but did I do the apples to apples or was it apples to oranges? Because then it's the thing how much cannabinoid or in milligram it is and how many drops do you need to take in order to get the same results. So that's where we're coming to the so-called the percentage
Yeah.
also.
So almost think of it like a proof, right? So when you
Mm,
buy alcohol, there's stronger alcohols, right, that have a higher
yeah.
proof, a higher percentage of alcohol in the bottle, right? So if you drink uh, a glass of vodka versus a glass of beer, right? There's a difference. Like the volume does not match. And it's the
Mm,
same thing with these products. So when you buy oils specifically, they'll have different strengths of CBD or other cannabinoids that are suspended inside the oil. So that's one thing, right? That's one thing, and there is generally an average that people use. I can call it off the top of my head, but as I said, most bottles of CBD are going to cost you between $30 to $50, maybe a little pricier depending on how fancy and craft it is. But that's generally what I feel comfortable paying. And when I buy a bottle of CBD for $50, if I do, and I have, right, I expect that to last me for about a month to
mm,
a month and a half, right? About 4 to 6 weeks of taking daily. And now, if I only take it every once in a while, it might last even longer. But, I can justify that because then it comes to be about more or less $10 a week for this product that I use every day. $10 a week, divide that by seven. What is that? Like a buck and a half a day,
mm,
to take the drops. So that's reasonable to me because you don't use it in large quantities. You don't drink the
mm,
bottle like you do with a
right.
beer. And I've seen, cans of beer that cost $10 because they're so rare. Right. So right now, because the industry is not regulated, right? It's not regulated. We have this issue where prices are all over the place. And the expectation of the consumers as well is all over the place, right? People don't know what they're taking or what they're doing. Right. And so you really, and it's unfortunate because it's so expensive. In order to be an expert, I can't tell you how much money I spent. I don't want to know. Trying different products because it tends to be expensive, and then it becomes a product of the wealthy, right? And for those who are more well off. Whereas I think for this to really excel as a product that's generally accepted, that is kind of in the norm, available, it can still be it could still be a little expensive, but it can't be at the level that it is now. So for example, if we expect to see something like CBD or the other medicinals that are pulled out of hemp, the price is going to have to come way down, and that's only going to happen if there's a lot of regulation and organization of the methods and of the supply chain and the channels at which you buy it. So, and then there's competition. Competition's going to drive the price down, just like anything else. But I have to imagine that, in the beginning of things like wine and beer, it was probably pretty pricey because it was so hard to make it, right? And still here, I live in California. We have wineries all around us, craft breweries all around us. You can go there and taste the wine. It's great, right? No problem. But when you want to bring home a bottle, it's like $40, $50 a bottle. It's expensive because it's
Mm.
handcrafted, and it's worth it because that much effort went into every bottle, and you're paying for that, the time and the effort and the thought, and you can't get that anywhere else. And I think we'll always have that kind of craft product available. It's just the nature of the market. But for it to become a consumer product that's generally available in food and creams and lotions, and it's beneficial, there's a reason to have it. It's definitely worth having. It's going to take some time, but it's going to have to cost a lot less money, because now it's just a premium product that's out of touch by mostly everyone. It's more expensive than even cigarettes or anything like that. Because so right now cigarettes are here in California. They're about $10 a pack, with all of and half of that is just state
Hmm.
regulation and federal tax. How much do you know how much a pack of cigarettes costs in Sweden? Is it
No,
expensive?
I can't show it, but today I have like a tennis shirt or piqué shirt with the Marlboro Man, but it's licensed, so it doesn't have anything to do with the cigarettes, but it's licensed, clothing brand. But I don't
Right,
smoke
right.
cigarettes. But I think last time I looked, it cost like $5 per pack.
Yeah,
But I think it's
that's
probably
the
up.
average here in the States, but California is
But
outrageous because of
when
state
I
tax.
I tested, I had like tobacco leaves, like how do you say, real brands like Nat Sherman and others, and that was for double. But when talking again about the quality, when it's done some different things, and that's where the president said I can't inhale, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah, well, it's the same thing. Quality is an issue. So, if you're
yep,
getting a bottle of CBD for $25, I wouldn't expect it to be a very high quality, but still $25 for a bottle, that's a lot of money. I mean, when I
yep,
buy like a spirit, so say when I go buy a bottle of tequila, there's a big difference between the $8 bottle of tequila and the $50 bottle of
yeah,
tequila,
but
or wine, right? And so you have to make decision,
uh,
around
and
what's good
yeah,
for you. What's good for
and
you?
there you have something. Now we are going different direction, but that's fun with the show. So my favorite plant is Camellia sinensis, and that's the tea plant. And there you could have tea that is like oolong tea and others that cost in Swedish crowns like 1,000 Swedish crowns per kilo. But from that kilo, you will get at least maybe 40, 50, or up to 100 cups. Because with the fine tea leaves and with varieties, you could brew it again. You could steep it several times. So then you start comparing how much it is per cup, and then you said it's like not even a buck or something like that.
Right. So it's worth it. You just have to
And
put out the money.
it is the same quality, you could say, compared to, as you said, fine champagne or craft beer, or like a craft
Hmm.
winery, and also, and that's what I interesting with this company. When Let's Hemp, what will how it will pan out with good quality product. And then they've been in the market for a long time, but they really want to get market shares, but also getting new people and more consumers testing it. And then we will see how the market will react about it. So
Absolutely. Also, consider that all of these substances are not approved by the FDA. The FDA. They're
yeah,
not considered as medicine, so insurance won't
and
cover for
same here in
them.
Sweden. So yeah,
Right.
so
So
we
you can get a recommendation from a
yep,
doctor to use these products, but they will not give you a prescription. That doesn't
yep,
exist, right? So it's a recommendation, like, oh, we recommend that it might be useful. And then that gives you ability
mm,
to buy it from a medical store. But the doctors aren't giving you a prescription. That's a big
no,
misconception, that you get a prescription for this stuff, right? So, and now it's available that you can buy it anywhere. So you can buy it in your drugstore, your pharmacy, even in the local shop, right? So quality will be a driver of price, right?
mm,
But even so, I think the price for that little bottle is so much higher than everything else in the store, that we live on budgets in this world, right? You only
Mm.
have so much money to spend every week. Are you willing to like say no to some product in order to buy this? In some cases, I would say yes. So, for example, for someone who's suffering with seizure or anxiety or inflammation, and they don't like the way their medicine works, it might be worth it, right? If this works
Mm.
for them as an alternative
Yeah.
holistic approach, right? Because it's holistic only because it's not being accepted as medicine now. So it might be worth it. And in fact, it might even be cheaper because the cost of medicine is so much, at least in this country. I think in Sweden, do you have socialized medicine? I'm sorry, I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's
Yeah.
sad. Yeah, we have it, and that's somebody else paying. So yeah, that's the thing. That's another
Yeah, but
question, and
somebody
we
is
should.
paying. Somebody is
Yeah,
paying, right? So
yeah,
you are paying it indirectly, right? Even though
yeah,
you're not paying it out of pocket, you're paying it
yeah,
because you have to pay taxes and the
yeah,
VAT
and
and
that's the
all of that
problem.
stuff, right? The money is being taken from you and you're just not
Yeah,
directly paying for it. Here, we directly pay for it, or we have insurance, and then that money is being taken the same way. So,
yeah,
those are the things. So when you compare it to a cost like medicine, then it's different, right? But this is not classified as medicine. It's a
yeah.
supplement,
It's a
right? So
supplement,
it's
and
a
it's from
supplement.
a natural plant. And as I said, this bottle was like 30 milliliters. It could, depending on how many drops you take, and you should start out with a few drops and then test it. But I mean, as I said, it could be for a month or even two or something like that. So, and if you divide it, then it's so much, not so much per day.
Yes, the effect is not direct, right? So it does
Mm.
take time to build up. But many
Yeah, that
allergy
too.
medicines work like that, the same way.
Yeah,
Like you have to build up a resistance over time. All right. If you immunotherapy is that way, right? I've had that before in the past, and it takes a long time to build up the resistance, or the lack of response. The ability not to react and inflame and have a negative response. But overall, it works for me. So that is what we have to share with you today. Is there anything else that you'd like to talk about on the podcast today that we're recording
yeah. I think it's a
live on apps?
yeah. I think it's a good thing, and I mean, we probably come back to about the soil and how to, I mean, use it in a good way, and the trend there, what's going on. That was
Yes.
one of brands there in Philadelphia that talked about that and his book and so on, and that was fascinating. So that probably will come back to. So I think that's good for now, and of course we'll do a call to action. You have because you have that skill, you've done the artwork for the show here. High
Yeah.
five for
So
him. Will you tell
So
about that?
yeah, we'll tell you about this. So we're gonna bring it up on the screen here. High five for hemp. This is our logo, and what we've done is we've made a really great T-shirt out of this logo. We're gonna put a link in the show notes. If you go to highfiveforhemp.com, click on the link, you can get yourself a T-shirt, any color you want. This one's in green, but
Mm.
it's a white logo. It looks best on dark shirts. But we have that available for you if you want to support the show, and if you support the show, we will be able to get Martin a better mic and a better camera. That's what we're gonna have to get first, right? So support the show, help Martin out, right? Or you can go to Habs and you can send us coins, but that's probably gonna
Yeah,
take forever, right?
yeah,
So however you want to help the show, to get Martin some better equipment, I would send you stuff, buddy, but I'm afraid that they would get lost in
yeah.
customs
In
sending us.
customs and so on. I have
Yeah,
some. I mean, good.
ex- ex-
You have talking about product placement. You have a Samsung, and I have a Samsung Meteor, but somehow I have one of the cables. It's I think I have
is
placed
not
somewhere.
working
So
correctly.
yeah,
Ah,
but
okay, you can't find it.
but what I like is doing it, and hopefully you will do the magic so-called with that thing post production. But I like it to have it on my smartphone, and it's an old smartphone. It's an iPhone 6s Plus, but it's
Still
working
working.
again.
It's
And I
still
like it.
working.
Knock on wood. I like it with the apps that you could do that because I mean this is a global thing. You don't have to have a latest iPhone or Android phone,
Yeah.
and
Have
I'm
you
all
figured
for
out
it.
how many
Yeah,
thousands of miles we are from each other recording the show in real time? How many thousands?
yeah,
7,000 miles, 8,000 miles, something like that.
yeah,
Ridiculous distance.
yeah. It's a
But through
long,
the
long
wonders of
distance.
modern technology, yeah,
Yeah.
it is. it is almost 2 p.m. here in sunny California, and I know it's almost 11. It's like you're in the
Yep.
last, you're almost reaching the last hour of this day.
Yeah.
You're almost in Sunday, and I'm sitting
Yes.
here squarely in Saturday with lots of time
It's
ahead of
almost
me.
time to take, some, as we talked about, CBN oil and have a good night's sleep.
Yeah,
So,
have a good night's sleep. Yeah, absolutely. Well, with that, Martin, I hope you have a good sleep and a good rest until we speak again in about 2 weeks. Now, Martin, we're going to
cheers.
stay on the live feed a little bit. We're going to
Huh?
cut the audio.
Yeah.
And
Have fun.
so let's say goodbye. So, everyone who's listening, thanks for listening, and we'll be back at you before you know it. Okay, so that's how we'll edit this all later, but we're still on Haps Live. So thank you for
But yeah,
watching.
we'll
I
figure
think
it out. Yeah,
we have
come forward.
27 live viewers on Haps.
Yeah,
Thank you so
free
much, guys,
live.
for
It's still
watching.
saying, and
Yeah.
I'm ready. But something is. But you saw Pablo. He was giving you a high five award on the latest broadcast you had.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. He's very generous. So
Yeah, and
Pablo,
I
very
sent some
generous.
also.
Yeah, and
He
we'll
got
work out the
also a high five.
tech. My dream is if we could do this live and then record it and then the audio, but I think we need to work out the gear to make that work
Yes.
100%. Yeah, and I'll
Is,
continue to.
is it what could I do more? I mean, I like this one. It's not the best, but it's good. It's a Röde. But if it's good enough, it's good enough. But we want to have listeners to have a good
Yeah.
experience.
So
But I have
this.
microphones also. Yeah.
Okay. So
How do you want?
this I have. This is the iRig. The iRig.
And it is lag. I mean, when you're talking, like as you
Yeah,
said, a
it was
couple
too
of seconds
much. No, it's too
later,
much of a lag.
yeah.
Yeah. So I recommend the.
Is it Facebook or is it by Wi-Fi or is it internet
It
or
could be all
what
of
are?
those things.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely a delay. I can even see a delay to HAPS, right? So you want to
Yeah.
be as live as you can through the application, through a connection, and just do it in the HAPS and then let Facebook create the lag as it goes over.
Yeah.
But I use this lavalier iRig mic lab, and let me show you something. What it has.
Yeah, I have that too. Yeah, but
But do you have this part? Is this part there where you can plug in? It gives you this little. Are you looking at the camera? I mean, you're looking at the
yeah,
screen. You can see this has a place to plug in headphones
yeah,
on
I
the
have
lab
this.
wire. Oh, you have
Yeah,
those.
yes, yeah,
Oh, then why didn't you should use those? Because then
yeah.
you'd be listening in real time.
you know,
Yeah.
it's me thinking
Yeah.
because I wanted
Okay.
to see
So next time, let's use
when
that one. Yeah. Use
yeah,
your. This works great. This works great. So
yeah,
I am not using my phone in this combination of my gear. I'm just using my MacBook Pro and a Logitech webcam and my Samsung mic. If you're interested, I have the G Track Pro, and these are the headphones from Samsung. I got a deal on them when I bought that. The mic, they were like $30, and they're fantastic because they're balanced to the microphone and it sounds good. And now I don't know if you noticed, but I got a green screen so I can do this nice stuff where I have this pretty
yeah. You
background and
managed to
all
do
that good
that.
stuff.
I mean, I
Yeah.
didn't I didn't manage to do that on apps, and you did the
Yeah.
nice countdown and so on. So great.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And in fact, what I can do for next time, I think I can, how
You
would I
could
do
bring in
that?
things and so on, but it's a bit tech. But
Yeah, I
you managed
can.
to good.
I actually, the way I'm doing that is I am using Ecamm Live and I have a virtual
Hmm.
camera, so I can actually do things like bring up the artwork in directly in the show. So like, or I can change the background. So for example, if I wanted to change my backdrop, I
Is
could
that the
actually
view
think.
from your garden? Is
Yeah,
it outside?
that's the view in front of my house actually at the front. So
Wow.
now I have like have the logo behind me, so I can
Yeah.
have that, or I can put whatever I want back there.
Yeah.
But I prefer this picture here, and I can just drag it
Yeah.
right in. Oh
Yeah.
wait, where did I go? I'm gone now. Oh, I just dragged it right in. If I'm gonna drag it in, let's let's drag it in and make sure that it's not blurry. Hold on, where
Yes,
am
it
I
is.
here? Close. So I think I how do I get me back?
Is it? Is it? It's like the movie. What is it? The one. What happened? Are you still there? Blair? Blair? I said. Adam. And I probably better leave now because something happened with Adam Tinkoff and his broadcast. I'm a guest here on this one. 25, 29 viewers. Thanks for watching. But something is going on. So I will say high, high five for hemp and cheerio and talk to you soon again.